he's going to toe the line. Most people don't realize the deep state is so entrenched, even in your local community. Somebody asked me yesterday, David Richter, who I was his senior advisor when he ran for Congress. He called me yesterday and he goes, I got to ask you a question. He goes, how come you've never run? I said, I screened twice when I was like 25 years old. I said, I screened. Everybody said, you should do it for the experience, blah, blah, blah. And I realized they already had their picks. They knew, the county chairman already knew who they were picking for office. It's the same people who stayed in line years before me, licking envelopes, kissing ass, brown nosing. I wasn't going to get the spot. They knew exactly who they were going to pick. And I screened twice for office. I said, I lost my taste. I figured I could do better here in a position of power like you guys are. Right. Versus sitting there being told what to do by people who are, in line and part of the program. That is the deep state. You don't realize it starts at a local level. People think the deep state has to be some guy at the FBI. That guy at the FBI who got appointed, he sucked enough, for years on a local level, worked his way up, did this, worked with the county chairman, got a job in the administration. They figure out he's one of the good old boys. We could trust him. He's going to toe the line. Most people don't realize the deep state is so entrenched, even in your local community. Go try to run for local office and see what happens when you realize there are 20 other people who have been vying for the same spot, but have an in there before you can get in. You could be the best and brightest with the best ideas. You could have the highest IQ in the country. And if you're not part of the system, you're not part of the game, you're never going to get there. So we are letting the inmates run the asylum. The problem is, Lance, the system is flawed. And you all know that. But when you realize how flawed the system is, when you work within it and you're part of it and you see it around you, guys like me, we got ostracized. I don't want to say ostracized, but we got kind of, pushed out of the system because after a while you say, I don't want to do this anymore. I've worked in politics. I've run campaigns.